Administrative provision. Administrative provision consists of 12 sections. The first section talks about the base service section or equivalent office. When we talk about base service section or equivalent office, it is in charge of boarding formalities in the entrance and clearance of foreign vessels. It also supervises and implements security measures in the discharging or loading of import or export shipments, as well as to incoming, outgoing crew, passengers, and visitors on board such vessels. The base service section shall be headed by a chief, who shall have direct provisions and control over all personnel therein. He shall issue instructions to the customs senior boarding officer, and who shall in turn be held responsible for the proper executions of the instructions given from time to time and to render reports. Section 2. Uniforms and insignia, piers and inspection divisions. So the chief, base service section, customs senior boarding officer, custom inspector, customs guard, and wharf fingers shall always wear the appropriate and prescribed uniform. Insignia, nameplate, customs badge, black shoes, and regulation cap. Section 3. Duties and responsibilities of customs operation officer. Customs senior boarding officer. A. Customs senior boarding officer shall have the following duties and responsibility. So, board incoming foreign vessels outside the breakwater or harbor unless prevented by stress of weather. During boarding formalities only, the customs senior boarding officer and the customs inspector shall be allowed to enter the captain's cabin unless the captain chooses to give the boarding information to the customs senior boarding officer outside the captain's cabin. Seal sea stores in the presence of chief's officers and the customs inspector assigned on board. Sea stores when adjusted by the collector of customs to be excessive or when duties assessed thereon are not paid. Such excess sea stores shall be treated as the provided for in section 2530 of the Tariff and Customs Code of the Philippines as amended. See to it that all customs inspector and customs guard on duty are in their proper prescribed uniforms. And see to it that a customs inspector or customs guard assigned to a vessel is provided with the necessary stationery and supplies. The next subsection, B, Report of Customs Senior Boarding Officer. So upon his return from an official trip in the bay, the Customs Senior Boarding Officer shall transmit to the chief, base service section, or its equivalent office, all reports, entries, and other documents delivered to him by the master, agent, or the customs inspector assigned on board vessel. He shall prepare and submit his trip report on BOC OPM Form Number 15, or the records of vessels boarded, to the chief, base service section, or its equivalent office, and make reports of any deviation from the assignment order issued to the customs inspector and customs guard. Section 4. Duties and responsibilities of customs operations officer or customs operator. The first duties of customs inspector shall have the following duties and responsibilities: to supervise the discharge and loading of cargo and to supervise continuous surveillance to protect the interests of the customs service pursuant to Section 2202 of the Tariff and Customs Code of the Philippines as amended. Be responsible for the proper disposal of all cargo and stores on board vessel under their charge. It is their duty to see that no cargo or stores of any description are discharged from or received on the vessels without authority from the collector of customs or his authorized representative. represents the customs service in his official relations with the passengers, ships officers, owners, agents, and consignees, and should see to it that the dignity of the service is not impaired. Stay in the vessels to which he has been assigned until he is relieved by proper authority, except as hereinafter provided, or it to be necessary in the interest of the service that immediate action be taken. B. Duties upon assuming charge of vessels. It shall be the first duty of a customs inspector upon assuming charge of vessel, especially a passenger's vessel, to immediately assign a customs guard at each accommodation, ladder, or gangway with the instruction not to allow persons to board the vessels without a written pass, excepting the stevedores, to attend to the discharging or loading of cargoes. The customs inspector shall instruct customs guard assigned on the gangway to conduct body searches, if necessary, on all persons boarding or disembarking from the vessel. While the vessel is docked at the pier or wharf, the customs inspector shall make periodic inspection to ascertain that all ropes and cables from vessels to dock are provided with rat guards and that adequate safeguards are employed, such as covering off the holes through which rope and cables pass. And lastly, if the vessels dock at night, the customs inspector shall require proper lighting at the gangway. The next subsection, C. Relationship of customs inspector with customs guards under his supervision. The customs inspector shall see to it that the customs guard assigned on the vessel are in complete uniform and present a neat and clean appearance. He shall report to the customs senior boarding officer on duty the unexplained absence of any customs guard assigned to him. An efficiency report for customs guards shall be submitted by the customs inspector for each vessel of which he is in charge. He shall maintain a logbook to keep a record of events during his tour or duty, to include customs guards sent ashore or to another vessel on official business, specifying the following: time of departure, nature of business, destination, where and when he is to report upon the completion of his business, and time returned. When customs guard are ordered to report to the customs senior boarding officer launch at a certain time, a similar note shall be given, addressed to the customs senior boarding officer. It is essential that an accurate check be secured on all cargoes discharged from and loaded on a vessel, and he shall submit the discharging sequence or inward foreign manifest duly received in the logbook by the customs wharfinger. And lastly, D. The reports after termination of duty. A customs inspector returning to shore after the vessel of which he was in charge has sailed, or returning to station from an output assignment, shall immediately report to the ship base service section or its equivalent office, and submit all reports relative to his assignment to the latter, who shall properly endorse them to the ship, piers, and inspection division. Section 5. Port Utilization Section. So the Port Utilization Section supervises the receiving, handling, custody, monitoring, movement, and release of shipments at a pier or customs zone. Section 6. Duties and responsibilities of Assistant Customs Operations Officer or wharfingers. A. At the pier or CVCFC. First, there shall be one wharfinger in charge of each pier, who shall be responsible for the efficiency and discipline of customs personnel under him. He shall exercise effective supervision over the arrastre, constructor service regarding receiving, handling, custody, and delivery of cargoes. He shall note carefully the condition of the fender piles and draft at the piers and submit reports thereon. He shall also cooperate and assist other officers of the government performing official functions at the piers, and he shall supervise the cleaning of the piers and see to it that garbage and obnoxious cargoes are disposed of promptly and properly. He shall cooperate with and assist the Enforcement and Security Service, or the ESS, in maintaining peace and order at the pier, including the exclusion and unauthorized persons inside the pier, shed, warehouse, and premises. B. Outside CYCFC off dock. There shall be one wharf finger in charge of outside CYCFC off dock, who shall be responsible for the efficiency and discipline of customs personnel under him. He shall receive the transfer note, inbound container, and inward foreign manifest from the customs guard. He shall supervise the stripping of the containers. He shall receive the shipping tally sheets from the CYCFC warehouseman. He shall process delivery permits and other types of customs permits, vis and vis the official receipt statement of settlements of duties and taxes, or the SSTDT, issued by the formal or informal entry division prior to the release of cargo. Section 7. Duties and responsibilities of Assistant Customs Operation Officer, designated Assistant Wharfinger. So these are the duties and responsibilities of Assistant Customs Operation Officer. First, each cargo shed warehouse shall be under the direct charge and supervision of an Assistant Wharfinger, who shall maintain his office inside the shed or warehouse. Second, he shall prepare, rate, and submit rating of his pier, shed, warehouse, customs guard to the wharfinger in charge of the pier. Third, he shall supervise the opening and closing of the cargo, shed, warehouse. Fourth, he shall not allow an authorized person inside the cargo, shed, or warehouse with or without operation. Fifth, he shall process all delivery permits pertaining to his shed or warehouse before authorizing delivery of cargo therefrom. He shall supervise closely the activities of the customs guard assigned in his shed or warehouse. He shall clear the pier, berth of lighters and other obstructions during the berthing and or departure of vessels. He shall assist the wharfinger in charge of the pier and to execute all his orders. He shall prepare and sign transfer notes as well as supervise the transfer of cargoes to the local ports, economic zones, and bonded warehouses, either inside or outside customs zones, including coastwise transit cargoes and other places designated by customs. He shall see to it that no inflammable, dangerous, or obnoxious cargoes are stored inside the shed or warehouse. And he shall coordinate with the arrestor, shed warehouse security, personnel, and enforcement and security service, or the ESS, in their prevention of pilferage of cargoes and other anomalies to defraud the customs revenues. And lastly, he shall perform all functions that may be assigned to him from time to time by superior authorities. Section 8. Duties and responsibilities of Assistant Customs Operations Officer, or the Customs Guard. A. At the pier, CYCFC. So these are the duties and responsibilities of Assistant Customs Operation Officers, or the Customs Guard at the pier. First, a customs guard shall see to it that no inflammable, dangerous, and obnoxious cargoes are discharged on the dock without proper permit. Second, when assigned to delivery work, he shall scrutinize the delivery permit properly processed and signed by the processing wharfinger. He shall check carefully the load on the truck against the gate pass issued in accordance with the mark, counter marks, register number, and total number of packages. He shall see to it that all deliveries made are duly recorded on the customs card delivery sheet. He shall see to it that the wharfinger copy of the delivery permit is retained and the same to be forwarded to the wharfinger concerned upon the completion of the delivery. When assigned as conduction guard, he shall see to it that the cargo destined for transfer reaches its destination safely and the covering transfer note properly signed by the warehouseman, storekeeper, or wharfinger or customs guard concerned as the case may be. B. On board vessel. So a custom guard shall see to it that no person is allowed to board the vessel without a written pass, excepting the stevedores, to attend to the discharging or loading of cargoes at each accommodation ladder or gangway. He shall conduct body searches, if necessary, on all persons coming in and out of the vessel. He shall perform customs surveillance on board the vessel or out carriers containing cargo in transit that has not been released from customs supervision. He shall check cargoes being discharged from or loaded on a vessel. He shall act as couriers on official business. He shall see to it that no empty lighters stay alongside the pier without proper permit. C. Outside CYCFC off dock. A customs guard shall assist the shed or warehouse wharfinger in supervising the receiving, handling, custody, delivery, and storage of cargo inside the shed or warehouse by the arrest operators, to include witnessing the stripping, devanning, and sign the cargo stripping report. He shall assist the shed warehouse wharfinger in attending the inventory of bad order cargo and sign the bad order inspection certificate issued by the arrestor operator. D. Others. A customs guard shall perform any work or function that may be assigned to him from time to time by his superiors. Section 9. Duties and responsibility of Assistant Customs Operation Officer or the designated customs gatekeepers. Section 10. Reporting time of customs personnel. The operating time for customs senior boarding officer, customs inspector, and customs guard are as follows. First, customs senior boarding officer. Customs inspector and customs guard not assigned to vessel shall report at and stay in the office of the Chief, Piers and Inspection Division or its equivalent office and observe regular working hours. Customs senior boarding officer, custom inspector, and customs guard assigned to vessel arriving at before 8 a.m. and after 5 p.m. shall report for duty at least 2 hours before the vessel's estimated time of arrival. Section 11. Meals and accommodations for designated customs inspectors and customs guard. Section 12. Leave of absence. So, application for vacation leave shall be filed and approved before such leave of absence is enjoyed by any officer or employee unless prevented by unforeseen circumstances beyond his control.